Hey, hello, welcome back to another video. So in this video, we're gonna make our own custom puzzle. So let's jump right into it. Okay, on this coming Tuesday, which is gonna be the 29th of April, we're gonna celebrate the 1-year anniversary of speedpuzzle.eu online speed puzzling competitions called Euro Jigsaw Jams. So if you don't know, I participate in lots of online speed puzzling competitions because I live in a kind of like a remote-ish place where I don't have any live competitions to attend. So I do a lot of online competitions, and the first one ever I did was a Euro Jigsaw Jam. I participated in the very first one, and I'm also participating in the anniversary one. So to celebrate, we got a little brief from Michelle, who runs these competitions, to maybe have a little celebration and how we can participate, right? So the brief was best dressed, outfit matching wrapping paper, puzzle themed, fancy hat, unusual outfit. So the idea was to use the wrapping paper because the wrapping paper comes in a lots of different colors and patterns, to use that to incorporate in kind of like a celebratory manner. Okay, and then the next one was best table, room setup. Lots of the times you can't see the room anyways in these, so I didn't go for this one. Best mascot, again, didn't really go for this one. Most creative use of Euro Jigsaw Jam wrapping paper. Attached is a photo with some ideas. We had like a little bear dressed up in a little crown and outfit made from the wrapping paper. And most funny, supportive and informative comments in the live stream chat. So I went, because if you didn't know this, probably you didn't know this, I like crafting things, and I'm a project-based crafter. So I like crocheting, knitting, paper art. I will insert some photos of the paper art I've done before. So I'm not this, I'm not a stranger with a sharp knife, So I decided to make a custom puzzle. And I had this idea, these foam puzzles that you get, I called Rabbit, I think, the brand, where you make like 3D objects, but I feel like that was a bit too ambitious, so I just made a normal puzzle, but made of foam board, and I'll put you the time lapse of how it went. So I started with like deciding on the composition. So yeah, the first one was trying on the compositions, and going off on the colors that I had, what am I gonna do? So you can see in the time lapse that I decided to go on like kind of like sky and then the ground and have like a scenery. And the biggest problem was cutting out, because this paper is very thin, the wrapping paper is very thin. So cutting out like the fine details of the fronds and the leaves that we had on this wrapping paper actually was quite difficult, because it was actually prone to ripping, and I actually decided to change my blade halfway through because I felt like my blade already wasn't sharp enough and it was like ripping the paper instead of cutting it. So yeah, so I tried to do like different composition, like, is this gonna look good? Is that gonna look good? And I had to, well, not that I had to, but I tried to incorporate as many of the wrapping papers as I had. And I think maybe I just didn't incorporate one of the wrapping papers that I had, because I just didn't know how am I gonna make it look good. I think. I don't remember. So yeah, I try, how is this gonna look? How is that gonna look? Wait, that doesn't really go there. And I wanted to write EGG, definitely there. And then I decided, you know what, I didn't really like this composition. How about a different composition? But I definitely liked it less. So, because it was less colorful, so I settled on one. And I had this glue, just a normal glue, called Elmer's glue. I don't know what's called, just a normal white glue. This glue, I don't know, it's because it was like it was just a cheap glue or what, but first of all, it water-based, so it warped the paper. Then because when it dried, it made my foam board kind of warp as well. But good news, once I cut it, it kind of unwarped itself, I don't know. Now the problem was that it actually didn't stick things very well. I had to re-glue things. it was the most annoying part. And so then the next part was deciding how many pieces this puzzle is gonna be. And I was toying around, and the thing is, I kind of decided to make them fairly big, because like cutting them out by hand with this X-Acto knife that I have, it was such a pain in the ass, actually. Such a pain in the ass, that I was like, okay, I need to make the connectors big and I need to make these pieces big. So in the end, this puzzle turned out to be 64 pieces. And yeah, I did a test cut. The first piece I cut, it had the smallest connectors, because I wanted to see like how small / big I need to make them to be able to cut them fairly easy. And the first one, they were the smallest, and it was the worst one. So every subsequent connector was much bigger than the first piece that I cut, because it was just so difficult to cut the small details on this foam, because you know, it's like half a centimeter thick, I think. Okay, it's 3 millimeters thick. The pieces are 3 millimeters thick, so, but it's still like I had to cut at least 3 times. You know, first you cut through the first layer of paper, then you cut through the foam, and then you cut through the second layer of paper, which has things glued on it, so it's thicker. So it was. The cutting process took me, I think, almost 6 hours. Okay? So it wasn't great. I had to do it in sessions of 2 hours, because my fingers... The thing is, this X-Acto knife I have is like this, right? So it's made of metal. So if you... And also it's like a high precision job, this, right? So I had to make my strokes, cutting strokes, very precise. And so I had to press it very hard. And what happens, like when you keep pressure constantly on the same points on your fingers, they kind of start going numb. So starting like getting more than 2 hours every day, it was just like my fingers were getting affected. And the next day in the morning, they were like a bit sore. So couldn't do more than 2 hours a day. So it took me like 3 days to cut these guys out. And then this is why this video is coming out instead of on Sunday, on Monday. Today is the 28th when I'm recording it. And so, because it just took me 3 days to cut these guys, basically. And then, of course, I had to let them, also after I glued them, I had to let them, I tried to kind of like squish it to flatten it out over a day, and it just didn't work. So I'll leave you guys with this nice time lapse of me cutting out puzzle pieces. Alright, now that we have these puzzle pieces here, these are all cut. You can see that they're fairly flat, so they're not bowed anymore, or maybe they have a little kind of bow. You can see that, oh, it doesn't focus. They're like little bit bowed maybe, but I'm hoping that when I assemble it, it's not gonna be a problem. So it's time to assemble. First we mix it up. And now we assemble it. Let's go for the edge. And this is the top edge. Now edge, edge, edge. Wait, edge. Okay, I have to. I can't find. No, this is not it. This is it. At least the piece cut is good. Because I couldn't get the false fit there. There we go. Come on, stick in. Okay. That one is there. This one is here. Yellow. That one. I had to take a book from leaf from my Educa's book and make some connectors like this. You can see that? Because it was just like there's just not enough space on this piece to cut out you know, 3 inside connectors as big as I needed them to be able to cut out. Okay, we have these guys. This pattern. There. There. That one. There we go. Hearts. Hearts. And that might be there. Nope. Nope. That might be there. Okay, here we go. That one. There we go. I'm missing edge here. That one? No. That one. There we go. More. This, no, this is, I can't remember which way it was myself. Okay, let's do the orange one. Do the orange, okay. The orange. That one. Okay, this is the edge. That's the edge. That one. Oh, wait. No. Ah, these guys here. There we go. This guy. It's only 64 pieces, but I don't actually have like an image for this because I have a picture on my phone basically. No, this one. There we go. Okay, here we go. Aha. This is the tinier connectors. You see what the difference is? This one's the first piece I cut out. That one is, so I made them much bigger because it was so difficult to cut this out. There we go. The fit is very snug, I have to say. Nope. That's not it. This guy. No. No. This way. No. This one, this one, this one. That one. Any more blue? That one. Wait, this guy. There we go. Okay, we have the bottom edge. This is the bottom edge. Bottom edge. Wait, this way. This is here. That's there. This is here. That one. That one. No. No. None of these. Wait, how is that possible? This guy. No. This guy. Okay, this one. This one. Ah, this is the corner. There we go. As you can see, they fit very well. The pieces fit very well. So I'm happy about that. That it's not difficult. The difficult part is actually taking them apart. Putting them together is not the difficult part. Because you can see some are a bit bent because it was so difficult to remove them. Some connectors are a bit bent. But maybe on the second time it's not going to be so bad. I don't know. We'll have to see. Makes it a satisfying crunchy sound when we put these pieces in. Wait, oh, I was like, wait, I'm missing pieces. No, we're not missing pieces. They're right there. There we go. Last piece. Crunch, crunch, crunch. There we go. That's the finished puzzle. What you guys think? Alright, this is the finished puzzle. It's pretty good. It holds together very well. You can see on the back all the drawings of the connectors. So I'm happy with it. I think it was a fun project. It takes so much effort to cut it by hand. I mean, come on. That's so crazy. No wonder people don't make their own puzzles. Like, this was just 64 pieces and it took me 6 hours to cut out. Anyways, what you guys think? Have you tried a project like this yourself? What do you think of these kind of like art and craft videos? Let me know in the comments and like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye. Bye.